The origins of the International Trypanal Tolerance Center, ITC, can be traced back to the early 1970s, when a series of studies were being carried out all over Africa, funded by the Rockefeller Foundation on trypanosomosis. The study in West Africa was carried out in the Gambia, and it involved comparing the Zebu cattle breed and the Ndama cattle breed in terms of their tolerance to trypanosomosis. The outcome of that study, which was carried out in Keneba in the Gambia, where there is a heavy Sese challenge, showed that the Ndama cattle had trypanotolerant capabilities, and this outcome led to the establishment of ITC in the Gambia, with contributions from a consortium of donors and of course the government of the Gambia, with a mandate to carry out studies on all aspects of trypanotolerance for the benefit of all countries that have trypanotolerant cattle. The mandate changed over time so that the center could work within a context of local production systems, and therefore it was mandated to carry out studies that will improve livestock productivity through the sustainable exploitation of local livestock breeds. In order to address this mandate, ITC set up a number of facilities, research facilities and stations, to look at all of the aspects involved with improving productivity in a sustainable manner and based on indigenous livestock breeds. One of the stations is based in Kesering, where we have the headquarters actually with offices, but also laboratories where we do nutrition work and other and health-related activities like microbiology and so on.
My name is Dr. Aseka. I'm a veterinarian and a researcher at ITC. I'm here at the serology lab doing some serology analysis. Here we've collected blood samples from our ITC herds located in Nyamene East, where we subject our animals to Sese challenge. Here, currently there was an outbreak of CBBP in the Gambia, especially in CRR area. Now, as a research center, we want to determine the effect of the vaccination program that is being implemented by Animal Health and Production Services. In this regard, we have collected serum samples before vaccination 2 weeks ago, and now we have collected the second sample 2 weeks after vaccination. We are going to analyze them to check the antibody concentrations before vaccination, 2 weeks after vaccination, and at 6 months post-vaccination, to compare if the vaccines have been very effective in inducing the production of antibodies that are specific to CBBP.
Okay, I am Mr. Ansumana Sise, a senior livestock technician. Okay, right now, I'm weighing some samples that I took from the provinces. This is a sample from OX8 program. It is a collaborative program between ITC and the NARI. Okay, now these samples, after weighing them, okay, I will take them to the grinding machine where it is going to grind into powder for further sampling.
The main part of ITC work is done in Keneba, the second research facility that we have, and that is where the selection and breeding actually takes place.
The ITC breeding program is a pure breeding program which was established from 1995, and the breeding goals have been defined to increase meat and milk production, increase resistance without animals losing their adaptive traits. And the Ndama is well adapted to certain circumstances within the subhumid zone or in this region, which involve the ability to utilize poor quality diet, and then they are resistant to endoparasitism and other skin infections called dermatophillosis. The program kick-started, as I said, from 1995. It is an open nucleus breeding scheme which operates a three-tier scheme that dictates the flow of germplasm from the nucleus to the multiplier and finally to the commercial farmers or the end users who are the farmers. As you can see now, this is the nucleus herd in which the animals are bred and selections are done based on a young sire scheme, and then the use of half selection in the selection criteria. And in the dissemination process from the nucleus herd here, it goes to the multiplier. Currently, the Gambia has an apex body called the Gambia Indigenous Livestock Multiplier Association, who are organized to receive elite bulls from the nucleus and they further breed them for further dissemination to commercial farmers. After the start of the breeding program itself, a number of bulls, about 68 bulls, have so far been disseminated from this program. We also have small ruminants, although under the same scheme. So far, the total number of bucks disseminated were up to 41 from 2000 to now. If animals are born here, usually until the age of 12 months, they are usually weaned, because within the breeding goal, the idea is for the animals not to lose their adaptive traits or resistance, kind of degree of resistance. These calves are introduced to a high challenge area of Setsi for a performance testing program in the Nyaminas. Various activities are usually done here, which is among them paramount is record keeping, because without record keeping we cannot estimate breeding values, we cannot make decisions. So our decisions, estimation of breeding values, estimation of genetic parameters, and other decisions are usually based on record keeping. So being the case, milking is done on a weekly basis. Usually every Thursday, milking is done in this herd, and then the amount of milk produced by every dam is recorded, as long as they are lactating, of course. These records are kept on a weekly basis. So beside that, every month weighing is also done, because growth as a trait is also very important. Beside that, also another important record that we keep is mating, record of mating. As you can see, there are 5 herds on this background, and each of these 5 herds, altogether we have 5 teaser bulls. These teaser bulls have been vasectomized to follow animals or to identify animals that are in heat. Once these animals are identified, they are usually taken up to the breeding bulls for mating, and this is usually recorded so as to determine the paternity of the calf that may be born